Ethiopia, another activist has been sentenced to 6 years in prison for a Facebook post. We're talking about Jonathan Tesfaye. He was arrested in December of 2015 and he's now been pronounced guilty of encouraging terrorism, all because he wrote on Facebook in 2015 that the government of Ethiopia used force against protesters. I mean, that makes no sense because everybody knows that the government has been using force against protesters. He didn't lie. Now, the sad thing is that the whole world is acting as if they don't know what's happening in Ethiopia. As a matter of fact, guess who the new Director General of the World Health Organization is? Dr. Tedros Adhanom. That was Ethiopia's Minister of Health from 2005 to 2012 and also the Minister of Foreign Affairs from 2012 to 2016. He was also the chair of the Board of Global Funds to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. Very impressive, right? Except you can't help but wonder why for several months Ethiopians protested against his candidacy. I mean, why won't his own people want him as the Director General of the World Health Organization? I found out that when he was the Minister of Health, he covered up 3 cholera outbreaks in Ethiopia in 2006, in 2009, and 2011. This was reported in the New York Times and Washington Post and several international media outlets, by the way, so you can read about this. The outbreaks happened in the Oromo region, and you guys know that for a long time they've been marginalizing the Oromo people, which was what led to the protest last year, and then they declared state of emergency. So instead of reporting that there's cholera outbreak among the Oromo people so that the World Health Organization could send vaccines, as the health minister, he decided to call it mere acute watery diarrhea, and people were like, diarrhea? How can it be diarrhea when about 60,000 people were affected in 2006? And not only that, he instructed his staff to avoid using the word cholera in their reports and also to make sure that they don't report the number of people affected. So can you believe that because of this, the World Health Organization did not send the needed vaccines and a lot of people died? More than 60,000 people were affected in 2006, and by February of 2007, more than 680 people had been reported dead, although many people believe that it's much more than that. I mean, look at this headline on NBC News, and this was in 2007. They said hundreds died in suspected cholera outbreak. Ethiopia downplays, but UN experts say it's an epidemic. Now, this was 2007. I don't see why the media will make up this story about him 10 years ago when he wasn't even running for the World Health Organization director. And NBC was not the only one that reported. Several media outlets reported it at that time. The World Health Organization told him to do proper tests so that they would know if it's cholera or just diarrhea like he claimed. But he insisted that the outbreaks were in the remote places where there are no labs for tests. And then in 2009, the same thing. 18,000 people were affected. He insisted it's diarrhea. He only reported 34 deaths in 2009. And again, people believe that more people had died. And then when the outbreak happened in 2011, this same World Health Organization reported that 5 million Ethiopians were at risk. The World Health Organization knows about all these things, yet he insisted that it's not cholera, and again, people died in 2011. Now, some people are saying that he covered up so that tourists would not be scared of going to Ethiopia, so he would rather sacrifice the lives of the Oromo people for the pride of the nation. I don't get it. Even though he is no longer the health minister, there's another cholera outbreak going on right now in Ethiopia, which started from Somalia. You know that Somalia borders Ethiopia. Somalia had already declared that this is cholera epidemic and they've already sent them the vaccines that they need. Yet the government of Ethiopia is still insisting that it's merely acute water diarrhea. And 32,000 people have been affected this year as I'm speaking. Now, the second thing that I found out is that despite chairing the Board of Global Funds to fight tuberculosis, when this man was the Minister of Foreign Affairs, that was when Ethiopia signed a $510 million deal with Japan Tobacco International for them to come and expand tobacco farms and increase cigarette production as well as the number of smokers in Ethiopia. Now, this also happened when more than 10 million Ethiopians were at risk of famine because of drought. It's ironic that he's chairing a committee to fight tuberculosis, yet he's inviting Japan to come and expand tobacco farm. It's ironic because there are several reports about how tobacco smoking can increase the risk of developing tuberculosis. At the same time, while he was the Minister of Foreign Affairs, his office authorized British American Tobacco Company to post hundreds of posters advertising cigarettes in Ethiopia. Now, this one is funny because there's no law against smoking in Ethiopia, but there's a law against advertising tobacco in Ethiopia. So you see the hypocrisy? I'm just saying that this is why so many Ethiopians Ethiopians now see the World Health Organization as less credible because they completely ignored all the reports about this man. So I want to know what you guys think about the fact that they completely ignored all these protests. Does it have anything to do with the fact that it's coming from Africans? Do you think we have a voice in the international arena when it comes to decision making in a situation like this? I want to know what you guys think about this. You guys not know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real.